beautiful day, so we're going to take you on a garden tour. Ready? Alright, welcome to the garden. Okay, so first we have here, this actually used to be full of radishes, 4 different kinds of radishes, but I put in here compost, and because we're not advanced in our composting, I had these 2 sprouts come up, and I knew they were squash. I didn't know what kind, and so I just let them grow after the radishes were done picking, but come to find out, I must have put an acorn squash in the compost, because that's what it is. So we've got an acorn squash here. These are 2 different ones. They're doing pretty awesome. I'm gonna guess this is another acorn squash. Yep, I think I can see one right there. So that's the first thing you come to right here. Like I said, used to be full of radishes for the first round of veggies. So that's already something new. And then this used to be full of onions. As you can see, we've ripped them out. They're all done here, but I planted a couple new watermelon here. Kind of smaller right now. I think they're just tiny hand sized watermelons. That's going to kind of be fun. And we have some dill. This is actually dill from last year that just went to seed. As you can see, it's going to seed again, which is fine with me because I love dill in salads and things and pickling, and I don't have to grow it again. But I did put some new seeds down so the little start to come up here for the fall. So I'm doing some fall planting now. So that's what's coming up here. This also, like I said, used to be onion, more dill. So I've got some new dill coming up, and then we've got the rhubarb here. Thanks, Mom, sending that in the mail. It's doing awesome. And then I've got, I actually think this was from the compost as well. I'm not sure if it's a weed, but it was coming up looking like a jalapeno or a bell pepper, so I'm just going to leave it and see what it does. Some marigolds for the good bugs, the bees and things. And then I've got this watermelon that's going crazy. 3 different watermelons. I know I'm crazy for putting them all right here, but I'm curious. I'm having them sort of grow up on the fence. I'm curious if they're going to do that, which is fine with me because otherwise they're just going to take over the garden. So we'll see if they'll do that. I'm trying to train them to grow up this fence, which I've never done with watermelon. Okay, so sunflowers, but then I did have, before the watermelon took over the garden, or this garden bed, lettuce that was all right here, which has now been eaten. There's a couple left here, just the final few. But then we move on to the pumpkins. So these are pumpkins. I think it's the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, 2 of those. I think I had 4, but the bugs got to the other 2. There's a few on there already. And then I had here, this is full of radishes. These were the leftover ones that didn't quite make it. Throw them to the chickens. But I'll probably plant more, something else there. I'm trying not to plant my rooted vegetables all in the same place because we've had problems with the bugs. Scary. Got out again. And then growing cantaloupe. This is cantaloupe. That one's could use some fertilizer. I do have some sunflowers that I just planted for fall growing there. This is another cantaloupe. This one's doing good, but I think everything needs to be fertilized. It just rained, so might wait a day. And then a bell pepper that didn't fit with all the other ones. Got a nice bell pepper on there. Scary. Sunflowers. There's 3 different types of corn here. I think an early one, bicolor. So these are doing great. I believe that between 6 and 8 feet already. But you can see that they're just about ready. So I gotta check those. I'm just kind of going around the perimeter right now. And then, let's see, acorn, that one's ready. I need to pick it. Acorn. That was another one from the compost. I wasn't sure exactly what squash it was, so I stuck it there. This was also from the compost. It started, it just came up. Shouldn't have thrown the fall squash in there because they all seeded in the compost, but that's fine. So a couple yellow squash here on the perimeter. These look good, probably pick them for dinner. Canadula flowers and more morning glory, or marigolds for the good bugs, because as you can see, I had some problems with some bugs here. This is Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are not quite on there. They grow on the stalk here, which is kind of fun. They'll be growing those little buds there. And lettuce. This is probably the third or fourth round of lettuce, so I've got a bunch of little guys coming up right now. There's probably 5 different varieties that I have here. I just thin them out so they can grow a little bit better here. Lots of lettuce. Be planting more lettuce. As I have room, I just keep seeding them in there. Sowing them, and then I just put in, this was also lettuce, but I just put in some more broccoli. So this is full of broccoli. There's little seedlings in here you can see that are popping up. It's the broccoli for fall planting. So I'm kind of taking the time to put in here my fall vegetables. But these are summer broccoli. So that's broccoli from the summer. But I also planted in here for fall some chard, which I've never grown before, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something new and try some recipes. That's not actually chard, but this is. So those guys are coming up for fall. Little seedling starts here. Marigold for the good bugs, some parsley, lettuce. That's a Cosmo that worked its way over here. Lettuce, but I also had celery in here that I didn't think was actually taking celery seed, but it ended up it did. So I've got some celery growing in there with the lettuce, which is fine. So that's kind of the perimeter. Kind of take you to each of the beds in the middle. So this is the peas. I have some mint around the garden too. It's also supposed to help keep those yucky bugs out. So the peas growing on here, but I actually didn't really care for this variety that I did because they grew way too tall. So I'm not really familiar with peas, but seems like to me that's kind of an indeterminate thing where it's just gonna grow as much as you let it, and it sure did because it's like growing over and all the way around. Anyway, so those did awesome. They're kind of on their way out, so I planted some new ones for fall. So I've got some new ones down here. Could use a little help, but they're coming up down there. And then this whole thing at the bottom used to be carrots, but now I'm putting in here some more bush beans for fall. So these bush beans just came up in literally a week. Got some good soil in there, nice water, some sun, and they're going crazy already. So more bush beans. These are the Royal Burgundy, which I really like, the purple ones, but I also have green regular bush beans on the other side. So that's that, and then we come to the jalapenos. A couple jalapeno bushes here. They're doing really good in there, and then some bell peppers. These are the bell peppers. They look really similar. Actually, I might be ready to pick more bell peppers that I didn't think were coming up, but ended up coming up. So we've got kind of a mess in here, but I'm gonna let them grow anyway. It's fine because I have some good established ones here. And then the next row, marigold. But these are the Royal Burgundy bush beans that I really like. Beautiful purple, grew really easy. did really, really well. They're still coming on. See, have lots of flowers, so I've got to come through and pick probably today. I think I had snuck in one regular green bush bean in here. Airplane flying overhead. And then we have the climbing cucumber here. I rigged on this trellis for it. It's slanted here, but I just stuck this in the ground, put a screw in there and wrapped it, and that's pretty much it. So it's hanging on, but Craig came in and put another board in here for me for support, but it's really fun. So I've got in there National Pickling Cucumber, these guys here, and they're also, I believe, indeterminate, so they're growing pretty tall. I could have made this a few feet taller, which we'll probably have to do next year. Live and learn. And this side is the Sweet Market one. There's a bunch in there. Lots and lots of pickles. These are delicious. Just tasty by themselves. And then under here I've got some basil I snuck in. Looks like we got some bugs mentioned on them too. And then some lettuce. Can't remember what this is, but kind of probably needs to be thinned out. So pickles are happy. Cucumbers, I mean. And then over here, tomatoes. Indeterminate. So these guys are reaching 6 feet. This is the yellow pear. I actually got this seed packet for free when I ordered some seeds from a company, and they're doing really great. So these guys are going to be pear-shaped and yellow. I've never grown these before, but they're doing really well. And this year I've added some straw, and it's working out really great because they didn't really care too much for the heat and the wind and all that weather we had. But I laid down the straw, and they look to be a lot happier now. A little bit of rain yesterday. And then coming down here, I planted my beefsteaks. So these guys are going to be huge and delicious. So I think I have, so this whole front area, 2, 4, 6, 7, I think there's 7 yellow pear in this first part of the bed. And over here I have 1, 2, I think I've got 3 or 4 beefsteaks, but I also added in here, this is a Black Prince. It's going to be a really dark tomato, which was different than the beefsteak. Beefsteak, and then on the other side, some more mint. I think there's a strawberry in there. This side is the Roma tomatoes, so those are doing really great too. Really tall and happy. I think I'm forgetting one. Almost looks like a Roma too. I was thinking that was a beefsteak. Anyway, so that's that. And then the next bed, the last bed here, more flowers, calendula, and these are really cute cut too in vases, but good for bugs. Keep the bugs out. Bring the bees in. Beets. Can't remember this variety that I planted, but they are ready to be pulled here. I love beets. Just boiled, nice and soft. Not sure how else anybody eats them. Put it in a salad, but and then I did have more collards here, but I ripped them out, gave them to the chickens because that's pretty much the only reason why I grow collards. I did make a stew once, but I added too much salt. Anyway, so I planted the carrots. These are more carrots for fall coming up. I think these are the fingerling carrots, but I could be wrong. I think I had some rainbow carrots I was going to plant in there too. And then the collards, like I said, these are pretty much just growing with chickens. I just cut the leaves and give the chickens their green salad. And then last but not least, the butternut squash. It's taking over the garden. I should have thinned these out better, but oh well. I know we've got some on already. Here's a nice big one. Butternut squash. I've never grown it before, but it seems kind of something that would be fun, and Joelle loves butternut squash. So, that's that. Thanks for walking through the garden with us, doing the garden tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Come over and pick some veggies. See you guys.